Hi, how are you? We're going to talk a bit about boundaries today. And I imagine if you're here, it's because you got some stuff going on with your addicted loved one or some other people in your life and you're feeling like things are kind of unmanageable or you're feeling overwhelmed. And I get it. I understand completely. And boundaries can help. I want to talk about boundaries in relation to detachment. Boundaries are not for them. They're for us. They're for the boundary setter. They help keep us safe. They help keep us contained. They help us decide what's okay and what's not okay. Brene Brown defines boundaries as simply what's okay for us and what's not okay for us. We set boundaries for lots of reasons. A lot of the time it's because the other people don't know what's okay for us and what's not okay for us because they can't read our minds. And if we're not talking about it, then how do they know? They don't. Right? So we have to communicate. And so communicating boundaries looks something like, hey, when you talk to me like that, it didn't really feel very good for me. If you're going to talk to me like that again, like if you're going to yell at me or be condescending, or if I start feeling small, then I'm going to have to just walk away because it's not going to work for me. I hope you understand. Full stop. Right? Full stop. And that's where the detachment piece comes in. In the beginning, it's really hard and it's really uncomfortable to set boundaries. Really uncomfortable. We have to allow ourselves the space to say what we need to say and get out. Right? Walk away, move to another room, somehow be able to shut it down. Because if we get into a back and forth about what we need to keep us safe, then we're getting into an entanglement. And we don't want to do that. It's the last thing we want to do. Because that leads to a whole other realm of things escalating and could get out of control. We could feel unsafe. Like it's just so many things can happen. The goal is to get in, set the boundary, and get out. So there's some language you can use to detach if feeling like just setting the boundary and walking away doesn't work. Right? The other thing that can happen is if when you set the boundary and then you walk away, they can follow you. Right? They can follow you. It's really hard when they're following you to not turn around and engage. Right? I know I want to. One of the things a very dear friend of mine said was keep your keys in your pocket. So that if you need to go outside for a drive, just go sit in the car. Just get some space, right? Just leave. If leaving the room isn't enough, maybe you have to leave the house, right? Go get a loaf of bread. Go for a walk. Go for whatever works, right? That's allowing you some detachment and it allows you some space to deal with your uncomfortable feelings around what just happened, right? Because just because you're setting boundaries doesn't mean that you're not going to be uncomfortable. The other thing you can do is you can have some phrases in your back pocket that you just pull out when you need to. Call them parrot statements. So one of the parrot statements I use when they come back with something is, I'm really sorry you see it that way. That's not my intent. I'm not trying to hurt you. This is for me. It's a lot of words, right? But I'm trying to say it in a way that I'm not gaslighting the other person too, right? So saying something like, I'm sorry this is making you feel uncomfortable and scared. It's not my intent. Full stop. Part of the deal with detachment is using as little engagement, as few words as you can. One of the best phrases that I've ever heard with detachment is, I am sure you will figure it out. I'm sure you'll figure it out. That does a whole bunch of things. It empowers them to know that they can figure it out. It lets them know that you have confidence in them. And it takes the ownership off of you to fix for them. So I even use that with my kids. My kids come to me and say, I can't find I can't figure this out. I'm sure you can. You'll get it. I'm sure you'll figure it out. I don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Now I pull that out with them when I know I've taught them how to do it, right? Lots of different things. If my partner comes to me and says, I don't know what to do about the car. It's not working. I don't know what to do. I'm sure you'll figure it out. I have to go to work, right? It takes the onus off of me. I don't know how I'm going to pay that bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay my cell phone bill. I'm sure you'll figure it out. The other thing that I use detachment for is when I feel pressured. I have people in my life that want immediate answers. And when I feel pressured to give an immediate answer back, I get flustered, I get anxious, I get scared. I get scared that I'm going to give the wrong response. I get scared that they're going to have a reaction, all of it. So I buy myself some time, right? I'm going to have to check my calendar and get back to you is one. I'm not sure what's going on that day. I'll have to get back to you on that. I need some time to think about that. Can I get back to you tomorrow? The key with the I'll get back to you is you try and give them an end, like when you're going to get back to them, an end date. Because if they have an end date, then they don't get so anxious and they don't come back at you. It's not about taking care of their anxiety. It's about making sure that you have enough space to do what you need and they're not inundating you with, did you decide? Did you decide? Did you decide? Did you decide? Right? It's, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I need to check my calendar. It's really good self-care to do that too, because then you're not getting yourself into the place of, oh, I just agreed to that and I don't know why. I don't really want to do that, but I just agreed to it so they would stop asking or stop talking, or I felt bad, or whatever the reason, right? Whatever the reason, doesn't matter. When you're saying yes and when you really want to say no, that's when you need to take the space. That's when you need to take the time to really think about it. Really think about it and feel it. Feel what happens in your body when you think about, I want to do that. And your body's saying, oh, no, you don't. Right? Hell yes, hell no. We'll go into that another day. Know what you're agreeing to. Know what you're agreeing to. So I'll run through a few phrases for you that will give you some space when you're feeling inundated or you've just set a boundary, right? The first one, let me get back to you. I need to check my calendar. I'll let you know later today, or I'll let you know tomorrow, right? It gives you some time. The second phrase is, I'm sorry that made you feel that way. It wasn't my intent. Few words, like few words. You want as little words as possible. The third one is, I'm sure you'll figure it out. I often, depends on who I'm talking to, I might also say, you've got this. I know you've got this. Especially if it's one of my kids. I'm sure you'll figure it out. They kind of just look at me like I'm nuts. But if I say, you've got this, you know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. You don't need me. Right? Tells them they've got this. I hope that helps. I hope those phrases help. The biggest thing you can do for detachment is work through your feelings around it and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So the biggest thing you can do is figure out the why you're connected to that response, to that action. Once you can figure that out, it won't have the same charge. It won't have the same impact for you. It just won't. Because it won't have any juice, it won't have any gas, because you'll heal it, right? Heal that piece, heal that trigger, go inside. Remember, this is your journey just as much as it is their journey. And I know you've got this. I know you do. Keep swimming. You're doing amazing. And I'm really proud of you. Don't forget that piece.